A new Thief game has been announced. This is crazy. It's been over 10 years since the last Thief game. I played Thief Deadly Shadows when I was just a little boy, only to then find out that that was actually the third game in the franchise, and I had 2 more games to play the game before it. They were amazing, they were oozing with personality, they were a great stealth experience, and they like formed my initial years as a gamer, making me a huge fan of the stealth gameplay. Fast forward a couple of years, it's now 2009, I think. Thief 4 is announced, and well, THI5F. That didn't go so well. It was released years later in 2014, and that's over 10 years ago. The game, it didn't receive very well. It was riddled with little bugs, and it didn't follow the original recipe of Thief by a whole lot. It was a pretty decent game in and of itself, but it wasn't really Thief the way we know it. You played as Garrett, but there was very inconsistencies with Garrett's character. It just didn't feel right. And so Thief kind of just ended there. It wasn't a huge success, and it flopped, and now there's no more Thief. Until just a few days ago, when Thief VR Legacy of Shadows was released. Now, I mean, we'll figure out whether this is a positive or it's gonna be another flop. I do have some predictions on that. I want to take you guys through the trailer, because I have thoughts about it and notes. Starts off with the smoky background and a quote. It's a little nod to like the original games, where every game kind of starts out like this, even though usually it's a quote and not 3 random words. But hey, you know, it's kind of a nod. Let's keep going.
No one knows how old the city.
This is a magpie bird. This is gonna be important later.
He really is. For me,
City Watch.
it's all I've ever known.
It's interesting, by the way, this screenshot right here. First of all, we've got the City Watch right here. It says the watch. It's a little dark to see, but it says the watch, secure, protect, maintain. This is the logo, so it's also there. Nightly curfew. Pretty much these guys ruled the city as like a police force. The original games had Hammerites and Pegans. You can see a poster of the Hammerites over here. They praised the master builder, and apparently there was no mention, basically no mention of the Hammerites cult in Thief 4. That's because of this Baron who having all of that shit just banned, and like in order to gain more power for himself. So lore accurate so far.
My whole world.
Gallows, the usual. Alright, Vertigo Games. Now, who is Vertigo Games? They're the creators of Metro Awakening VR, a pretty insane and very well made VR game. I don't know their other stuff, but these guys have the means to make a pretty good game. Good sign so far.
I was raised in this city's shadow.
Alright, another note. This very much resembles the city clock tower from Thief 4. It's very much possible that it's just those assets from back then and then reused for a VR game, which is a little bit but we'll see where it goes.
Free to take whatever I need.
Maze Theory, by the way. What do? I haven't played any of their stuff. Alright, only in designated places, the same as it was in Thief 4. I mean, the lack of freedom that Thief 4 gave you for use of rope arrows was a major criticism. I hope to see more of it, that the rope arrow becomes like almost like a game-breaking tool, the way it was in the original games, because it felt like you had so much freedom.
To survive.
The stealing, the pickpocketing looks great. As a VR experience, that must be exhilarating. Being able to snuff out flames with your own hands. This was a major thing in Thief 4. Again, I'm complaining about Thief 4 a lot. But basically they had this system, right, where if you want to like interact with a light and like snuff it out, it would just it would completely move your entire character into a predefined position in front of the light source to just snuff it out, and it caused you to like step into the light just to snuff it out, the way it could be done in the original 3 games, where if you could find a good spot from the shadows to like snuff out a light source, you wouldn't need to step into the light to snuff it out. That was a major advantage of the first games. I love to be able to like, you know, if you're hiding like under a desk and just like snuff it out, feels like a very cool interaction.
This city hides many lost and legendary treasures. Locked away.
Who's there?
Waiting to be found. Waiting to be taken.
Lots of trailer and music. I'm not a big fan. I think Thief deserves a little bit more of a double approach. Instead, we get this major cinema vibes off of this. It's not like stealth in Dishonored, where, you know, it's only stealth upon until you get detected, and then you turn into this crazy killing machine.
But some treasures come
And this blew my mind when I saw it in the trailer. The Eye.
with more trouble than others.
I thought I was dead. And who are you?
The Eye, big part of the lore in Garrett's lore, the original Thief, but also Stephen Russell as the voice actor that you hear at the end. That's the original voice actor in the first 3 games of the series, which are regarded as the best 3 games of the series. We don't like to talk about Thief 4 as much. We know that the Eye has a voice. If you have the Eye, you can speak to it telepathically in some way. That concept had been explored in Thief 3, Deadly Shadows, and it's a major plot point in there as well. Your eye is like one of the artifacts of the city. It plays a big role in like the overarching magic system in the city. So this trailer seems to be implying that now Gareth is inside of the eyeball, which is now going to be your companion throughout the game. Kind of like that. I wonder what direction this is gonna go, because this implies that Gareth has met his end in some sort of way, even though the timeline doesn't really make sense, and I will get to that in just a second. Let's check the website for it. The story. The city, which, you know, that's the main setting of the game always, just the city, is a place of shadow, ruled by the powerful and feared by the oppressed. Its rooftops form a labyrinth. Blah blah blah. The city watch prowls relentlessly, enforcing the iron will of the Baron Ulysses Northcrest. Now, the Northcrest family is a very powerful family in the game, who have produced lots of barons who rule the city, including this one, a tyrant who crushes rebellion before it can take root. Now, Ulysses is a special one, because what do we know about him? He was actually the first of the 10 Northcrest barons. He's the original one who banned the Hammerites and the Pegans. So if we look at the timeline, we've got Gareth as a spirit inside of this eyeball, but also we've got a Gareth in Thief 4, which is definitely post the reign of this first Ulysses, which, you know, kind of like confirms the theory that the Gareth of Thief 4 is like a later reincarnation of the original Gareth, like not a reincarnation per se, but like a spiritual reincarnation, kind of like how in The Legend of Zelda there's like always a new Zelda in a new timeline. They're not reincarnations of the same person, but like they embody that same role in the story. This Gareth that is stuck in this eyeball is presumably the same Gareth from the first 3 games, and a different Gareth than the 4th game, which we did not talk about. THI5F. You are Magpie, a cunning thief orphaned by the Northcrest's brutality and shaped by the streets. Now, Magpie is this bird. All right, this is a magpie bird. The significance of that isn't really explained, other than that it features this bird a couple of times in the trailer. They do make nests with all sorts of materials. Maybe that's like a reference to being a thief, you know, picking up shiny things, putting it in your nest, you know, maybe something like that. But at least that's where the bird comes from. She steals as the only means to survive, that is, until you uncover something greater, a legendary artifact holding a legacy from the past. Once again, that legacy from the past must be Gareth. So I don't think playing as Magpie is any DEY version of Gareth. I'm fine with it being a different player. I'm just stoked that Gareth is still a part of the story. I'm even more stoked that it's voiced by the one and only Stephen Russell, the OG thief. Things that worry me a little bit, if we look at the screenshots, they are all exactly one-for-one scenes from the trailer, making it seem that what they got in the trailer is like a very, very focused vertical slice of what they got right now, and their release date of this year. So the release date may be very ambitious. I can't say for sure though. Yeah, oh my god, I just realized on the play button here, if you look at the sigils over there, this is the logo of the Keepers, the logo of the Pagans, the Hammerites, and the City Watch. I think that's how it works. Let me fact check that actually. This glyph right here is well, it's the icon of the third game of the series. I believe it's very closely tied to the Keepers, which is kind of like the main faction in Thief Deadly Shadows. This one with the eyeball just seems to be a sign of the City Watch. Then there's this one with the hanging fish-like symbol. This is definitely the glyph of the Pagans that they use for their magic. And then this is just the symbol of the Hammerites. So we've got these four factions basically: City Watch, Keepers, Pagans, Hammerites. I mean, this could be very good. And then we've got some other glyphs on the inside, which usually like refer to like spells, but like they're unexplained, very much unexplained in lots of the lore. Like they can mean anything. Story-wise, this makes it very interesting. A big part of like the draw of the original games was always this infighting that went on between these major factions of the city, and we seem to be getting thrown in right in the middle again. Specifically, the story may be centered around how these two factions, the Pagans and the Hammerites, are becoming like a banned religion or cult by the decree of the first Northwest Baron, and how they react to their banishment, so to speak. And I think that's a really interesting angle to take the story towards. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it. I think you should be excited for it. If you like me to do more deep dives into this game as news unfolds, then like and subscribe so I know that you guys like to see more of this. This is a major milestone for Thief, and I hope to see it succeed, even though it's a VR only game, which is usually a big gamble. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you when there's more news. Also check out the rest of my channel. I do a bunch of speedruns and rage games. It's not like this content at all, but if you want to see more like this, I maybe like create like a second channel, and like that'll be my ranting channel. I'll call it something like my swamp or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I thank you for your patience, and till the next one. Bye bye.